Carolina is recognized.
Madam Speaker, we have no further speakers, and I am prepared to close.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've got just one quick correction or amendment to my distinguished friend's last set of remarks, which is that when he says, how low a standard must there be, all they have to do is not commit another felony or commit a felony. As I understand the gentleman's legislation, and please correct me if I'm wrong because he certainly knows it better than I do, but it is a felony to come back to the country, again, without having committed any violent crime or any other offense. It becomes a felony under the legislation. So now you have a felony because you've re-entered, and at that point, you're eligible for the up to 20 years or even a life sentence. Am I understanding that correctly? There are people whose only offense could be re-entering without anything else who would be subject to the most serious punishment. And I'm happy to yield if you can just clarify that.
Well,
The gentleman yields. The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
The issue with your characterization, sir, is number one, someone who enters illegally must be convicted of illegally entering the country. Then they must be convicted of illegally re-entering a country to get a felony conviction. There is no compulsion to charge the most serious layers of this offense. There is prosecutorial discretion. Under this law, if someone is apprehended, they can be deported without any charging. And that's where the misconception and the mischaracterization is. And now if someone is convicted of illegal re-entry and deported, and they come back, a prosecutor would have the discretion to charge the 10-year minimum. It's not compulsory, it is within the discretion. But yes, he would meet the element.
All right, I'll reclaim my time.
Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Yeah, but thank you for that clarification. I'm satisfied to believe, again, that there are people who could end up with the most severe penalties under the legislation who have done nothing other than re-enter the country, which is something we don't want them to do, which is why we want a bipartisan immigration bill to actually fasten down the border and move forward on this so we're not constantly dealing with this way. The bottom line problem with my friend's legislation, which is offered in all good faith, is that it's just continuing to pile criminal penalties on people re-entering the country without changing any of the incentives or inducements. It doesn't deal with any of the things pushing them out of countries that are marked by gang violence and authoritarianism, so on, nor is it dealing, as Mr. Correa points out, with the pull of all of the jobs here. So we need real immigration policy breakthroughs and not just piling on a bunch of additional criminal penalties that are not going to work, and if they did, would just end up costing the American taxpayers hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in holding people in our prison for offenses that currently they're being held for 6 months or for up to 2 years. So with that, we're going to urge people to vote no on the gentleman's legislation, and I'm happy to yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've heard a lot from the other side about costs, whether it be costs to law enforcement, costs to imprison, costs to society, but I want to talk about the cost of open border policies that is felt in this country. In the year 1990, roughly 5,000 Americans died because of illegal drug use. Since the year 2000, almost 1.5 million Americans have lost their life because of using illegal drugs. Now, of course, there is involvement locally and domestically in the drug trade, but just about all drugs, statistically all illegal drugs, come into the country illegally. That's just one category dealing with the cost of illegal immigration. Any criminal code should have 3 objectives. First, it should protect Americans. It should protect American children. It should protect American families, neighborhoods, businesses from the ill effects of crime. Second, it should punish illegal activity. When someone harms another American, there should be adequate and reciprocal punishment. It should be efficient and it should work, again, to protect Americans. Thirdly, it should deter ongoing criminal conduct in that same vein, repeat criminal offenses, or anyone who would want to copy criminal conduct to enrich themselves. When you look at the scale of illegal immigration, when you look at the problems that are being inflicted upon this country, across every metric, the criminal law is failing to protect Americans. This bill, again, it aims to target the committed criminals who are here illegally. There is no distinction under the current law for people who commit crimes when they are here illegally versus those who commit crimes who are citizens. That discrepancy enables hordes of illegal immigrants to come from around the world to harm Americans. Again, I repeat, Mr. Raskin, in good faith and with sound logic, he talked about robbery, he talked about property crimes, he talked about rape and murder. Some of these people have been convicted of rape, murder, property crimes after they have been deported. They return illegally and harm Americans. This bill aims to preempt the harm Americans feel by committed illegal immigrant criminals. Just this week, there was a release from the Department of Homeland Security, a 34-year-old gang member from Mexico. He had illegally entered the country 26 times. He has received convictions for burglary, tampering with government records, government witnesses, criminal enterprises, illegal re-entry, multiple times. When you look at cases like this that are so voluminous it's hard to summarize, again, the only conclusion, the law is insufficient as it is currently drafted. We are in Congress to make laws to protect Americans. When we have such gaping holes in our criminal justice law as it relates to illegal immigrant criminals, not dairy workers, not those who are not committing crimes, the conclusion is straightforward. We need to change the law. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle, candidly, are twisting themselves into circles to defend the policies of the status quo. They want more illegal immigrants. They do not want stricter enforcement. They are turning every opportunity to resist the changes that Republicans and this president are trying to implement. Again, as a federal prosecutor in my previous career, I saw how illegal, unchecked immigration harmed every corner of my state and the country. When you have an open flow of illegal immigration, crime flourishes. It is hard to quantify the cost. Again, with this bill, for any illegal immigrant to be under its effect, they must commit a felony and get convicted, or they must illegally re-enter, not enter, re-enter after deportation. That is not a standard too high. That is not detached from logic. Again, when you look at the goals of what all criminal laws should achieve, protecting Americans, punishing illegal activity, and to deter repeat offenses, this is a needed step to accompany the legitimate approach that the president has been implementing over the past few years. I urge my colleagues to vote in its favor. Thank you.
Hold time for debate has